Make every day count. Yeah, that matters a lot today with the passing of one Ozzy Osbourne. For me, it also matters considerably because I learned of not one but 3 deaths happening within what was my Denver, Colorado family yesterday. One happened yesterday, and then the other 2 happened recently, and I didn't know because of the isolation. See previous vidcast from that group. So I had all 3 to process. Rough day. I don't feel like drinking, but I can see drinking out in the parking lot kind of lurking. So, yeah. So today, I'm going to go through the secular 12 steps. I was taken to a meeting because it was part of our Tuesday group stuff. It was a meeting in the park nearby this building. And I did go because I did not want to impede or disrupt anything and have someone have to make special arrangements for me or something. So I went. Standard AA vibe. But while I was there, my mentor, my short-term mentor here, Richard, provided to me a prompt for ChatGPT to look up the secular 12 steps. So I'm going to quickly go through those and make some brief comments. Now, once again, I am not a trained counselor. I'm not a trained therapist. I'm not a trained anything. I'm just a very experienced drunk who's been through this enough times that I'm genuinely desperate to progress positively and not relapse ever again. So, with that in mind, 1, we admitted we had a problem and that our lives had become unmanageable. Yeah, you got to do that. I don't care what program or steps or anything. You got to do that. Nothing else happens if you don't. 2, we came to believe that we could restore ourselves to sanity through reason, support, and our own efforts. Now, our own efforts, yes, that's important. That's powerful. But the support part, that's the part I personally connect to because I realize I cannot do this alone and should not try. Reason is important and useful too. We got, sorry about the background, but I'm in the building with the treatment folks, so there it is. Number 3, we made a decision to take responsibility for our lives and commit to positive change. Yeah, you got to do that. You've got to take responsibility. You absolutely have to take responsibility, and you have to commit to making not just a change, but a positive change, a change that will move you towards a more productive life, or at least a more enjoyable one. Number 4, we made a searching and honest inventory of ourselves. Now, that's the dig deep part. And I don't care where you are on the spiritual path. If you don't dig deep on what's going on with you, you're not going to get very far. And the journey is going to be usually fairly short-lived until you lapse back into whatever works. And whatever works in this case is the addiction. And it doesn't actually work. You just lean on it because it kind of seems like it's working at the moment. Number 5, we admitted to ourselves and another trusted person the exact nature of our wrongs. That's a little weird for some folks, but it is very essentially true. Taking accountability, not just with yourself, but with somebody you trust who will also hold you accountable. Very important. And dealing with those internal senses, I've done wrong, and I need to do better. And while I'm at it, really deal with the wrongs I've done, not as a beating yourself up thing, but as this is what I do not wish to return to, and therefore I need to see it, know it, and put it behind me. Now that was number 5. Number 6, we became willing to change our patterns of thinking and behavior. That kind of stuff's back to some of the other stuff, but it's a more profound move forward. You've got to be willing. You've got to be, you've got to be honest. You got to be open, and you got to be willing. That's the, how, H-O-W, that they teach in a lot of treatment. And those patterns of thinking and behavior, well, if they're leading you to misery, they're leading you to being drunk or on something else, and that is destroying you, then you've got to change your thinking and behavior one way or another. to go to a more positive place with that. Now, you don't have to do it alone. In fact, as I highly recommend you don't. I highly recommend you get help, you get coaching, you get support. Number 7, we actively work to develop and practice healthier habits and coping strategies. That's just moving along that path, right? That's just, let's get better coping mechanisms than a bottle. Let's get healthier habits than just laying in bed, barely eating pistachios and listening to an audiobook and unable to function. That me, okay, that's where I was multiple times, especially this last time. We made a list of all persons we had harmed and became willing to make amends to them all. That's a long list for me. That's going to be huge for me. And that's one of the reasons why, the social media platform is going to be a way I can reach to all the people who have felt in some way hurt or wrong by my behaviors. I will also look deep at the closest relationships I have and make myself willing to direct amends. There's one person passed away yesterday in a car accident. I'll never be able to make amends to him. And that hurts. So I got to get on that. This is number 9. We made direct amends to such people wherever possible, except when doing so would cause harm. That's a deep dive for anybody that's going through this process. There are some people I suspect maybe I just need to send them amends across the cosmic universe in some non-harmful way. But for the most part, I feel like I'll be able to make amends on a broad scale and in some very specific scales. And I know that that's a healing process for them and for me. 10, we continued to take personal inventory and promptly admitted when we were wrong. This is the ongoing work. This is the part where you've got to do the work. It's not a one and done. You wake up or go to bed with some thoughts about, okay, what did I mess up today? And how can I make that better? It's not because you need to self-recriminate constantly. It just means being aware and accountable so that you stay on the path you want to be on. It's about you where recovery is concerned. So the wrongs are not about if you wrong somebody else. That's between you and that person and whatever you want to believe. But the wrongs that you commit that are going to be damaging to your spirit and your health and your mentality, those are the ones you need to come to terms with every day. Number 11, we sought through reflection, mindfulness, or meditation, I'd say to increase our self-awareness and grow in emotional strength. Yeah, that's a big one. Grow in that emotional strength. Find a way to process effectively that reflection on your day, on your experiences, that mindfulness of where your head and your heart are. And then meditation, I've discovered, it doesn't have to be all, it can just be deep breathing with your eyes closed and thinking some things through. 12, having experienced a personal transformation, we tried to carry this message to others and to continue practicing these principles in all areas of our lives. That's the day-to-day. And the two parts are very important. One is reaching out in some way to help others endure the journey that you've endured and to get through to the other side. That act of service is really primally important to a life well lived. And at the same time, continue practicing the principles, right? Every day, look at the things that you want to accomplish and how you want to be in the world and be that. All right, 10-minute limit on these things. So I'm just going to say, as always, I'm not a trained therapist or counselor. I am just here giving some thoughts based on my own experiences. I would be grateful if you chose to like and share and subscribe or whatever, just because not because I intend to make any money off this, but because I just really want to get the word out to the world. I'm going to just go, peace and love. And P.S. We'll miss you, Ozzy. Namaste.